He's 6'9", filthy rich, and somehow still the quietest Trump in the room. In this video, we're exploring the lavish lifestyle of Barron Trump, the billionaire heir who lives large without saying much. Buckle up and sit tight because this Who's Barron Trump? A quick peek. Before we get to the gold elevators and the private jets, let's establish one thing here. Barron Trump isn't your typical 18-year-old with a lot of money. You will never see him out there posting thirst traps or starting YouTube pranks. He's 6'9", fluent in 3 languages, and already walking through life with a Secret Service entourage, which, let's be honest, is way cooler than a blue checkmark. Born in New York City in 2006, Barron is the only child of Donald and Melania Trump, which makes him the youngest and arguably most mysterious member of the Trump dynasty. While his older siblings were building brands and breaking into politics or reality TV, Barron was quietly growing up in Trump Tower, far above the noise, literally and figuratively. Melania made a point of keeping him out of the media spotlight, often saying she wanted him to have a normal childhood. However, normal is a relative term here, especially when your childhood bedroom has gold trim, a personal living room, and a view of Central Park. But hey, the effort still counts. Academically, Barron's track record is exactly what you'd expect from someone being gently groomed to run a multi-billion-dollar empire. He started off at Columbia Grammar and Prep in Manhattan, moved to St. Andrews in Maryland during the White House years, and now attends NYU's Stern School of Business, where, according to TikTok, he's something of a campus unicorn, tall, quiet, sharply dressed, and always flanked by security. You know, just your average freshman. He may not be tweeting policy opinions or launching fashion lines, but don't let the low profile fool you. Behind the scenes, Barron is slowly and very quietly stepping into the world he was born to inherit. The lavish lifestyle of Barron Trump. Now it's time to talk lifestyle, because when your last name is Trump and your childhood home comes with 33 bathrooms, subtlety isn't really part of the package. Barron Trump's everyday life reads like a billionaire starter pack. Tailored suits? Check. Custom sneakers? Probably check too. A fleet of government-assigned bodyguards who follow him everywhere? Absolutely check. Even walking to class at NYU looks like a presidential motorcade. If you ever spot a very tall teenager gliding past the Shake Shack on Washington Square with earpiece-wearing guys in tow, yep, that's him. Despite being born into reality TV royalty, Barron has done a decent job of dodging the cameras. He doesn't seek attention, but attention seems to find him anyway. NYU students have turned him into an unofficial campus legend, sharing blurry TikToks of him walking to class like he's a rare Pokemon. Apparently, the Secret Service doesn't stop TikTok. Fashion-wise, Barron leans more polished than trendy. Think less hypebeast, more heir-in-training. You'll usually catch him in smart blazers, button-downs, and the kind of shoes that say, "I've never stood in a TSA line." It's a clean, expensive look. The fashion equivalent of speaking 3 languages fluently and still playing tennis on weekends. Now, let's address the other thing the internet loves to obsess over, his love life. Rumors have swirled around a handful of names: Maddie, Sarah Claire, and more recently, Clara Jones, a model who's reportedly 2 years older. The pair have been seen at a few events, which, in gossip terms, is practically a marriage license. But according to Donald Trump himself, Barron is single and in no rush. Translation: chill, internet. He's got plenty of time to date. After all, building a billion-dollar empire comes first. What's more interesting than the girlfriend talk is Barron's quiet dip into the family business. Trump has publicly said that Barron helps pick podcast guests for interviews, because when you're 18 and rich, why not moonlight as a media strategist? He's also apparently showing interest in cryptocurrency and new tech ventures tied to the Trump brand. Not bad for someone who still probably has a student ID card. In short, Barron Trump may be low-key, but his lifestyle? Anything but. He's moving through the world like someone who's not just used to luxury. He was basically born wrapped in it. And the craziest part? He's only just getting started. Mansions and mega properties. If you're wondering where someone like Barron Trump lays his very tall head at night, the answer is complicated. Because when your family owns a small empire of luxury properties spread across multiple time zones, home becomes more of a concept than a street address. Let's start with the crown jewel, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. Originally built in the 1920s and bought by Donald Trump in the 80s for a casual $10 million, this 17-acre estate isn't just a mansion, it's basically its own zip code. The place boasts a whopping 33 bathrooms, 3 nuclear fallout shelters, just in case, a private beach, and a ballroom where gold trim isn't an accent, but the entire theme. It was later converted into an exclusive private club where membership will set you back up to $200,000, assuming you're even allowed in. Then there's Trump Tower in Manhattan, the original Trump base camp. The penthouse there is a 3-floor, $119 million palace in the sky. Covered in 24-karat gold and Italian marble, it's less of an apartment and more of a flex. When Barron was younger, he had an entire floor to himself, complete with his own bedroom, kitchen, and living room. Think of it as a mini luxury condo inside a mega luxury condo, because childhood independence hits different when you've got your own chef. But wait, we're not done. The Trump family real estate roster also includes a $3 million beachfront mansion in St. Martin, a $12 million estate in Westchester County, and a $5 million high-rise apartment in Punta del Este, Uruguay. Because what's a global brand without a South American outpost? While it's unclear where Barron hangs his hat these days, odds are he spent time in all of these homes, enjoying the kind of real estate access that most billionaires would envy. No matter where he goes, he's surrounded by marble floors, panoramic views, and probably a few chandeliers that cost more than your car. Private jets, helicopters, and yacht life. If you're part of the Trump family, getting from point A to point B doesn't involve standing in line at gate 23. It usually involves a jet engine, gold-plated seatbelts, and someone else handling your luggage. Barron Trump, of course, grew up flying private. And not just private jet private, but Trump Force One private. That's the nickname for the family's Boeing 757, a $100 million aircraft that comes fully loaded with gold-plated fixtures, a private bedroom, a dining room, and leather everything. It's less of a jet and more of a flying apartment with branding on the side. Barron has been seen boarding the plane on multiple occasions, sometimes in a suit, sometimes in sneakers, always with a full security detail and a face that says, "I don't wait in TSA lines." For shorter trips, like hopping from Manhattan to a golf club in New Jersey, the Trumps roll out their Sikorsky S-76 helicopter, which is valued around $20 million. It's sleek, fast, and yes, decked out with the same over-the-top interior touches you'd expect from a family that believes gold is a neutral tone. And let's not forget the Trump Princess, a 281-foot superyacht the family once owned. This wasn't just a floating mansion. It came with a helipad, marble-lined bathrooms, and its own movie theater. The yacht was eventually sold, but knowing how these things work, Barron could easily charter something similar for a weekend if he felt like it. Sure, he's only 18, but when you grow up flying private, sailing private, and occasionally landing helicopters on your family lawn, your definition of travel changes a bit. The rest of us might call it over the top, but for Barron, it's probably just Tuesday. Barron Trump's car collection, present and future. Now, technically, Barron Trump doesn't have a driver's license yet. Or if he does, he's keeping it low-key. But let's be honest, driving yourself is kind of unnecessary when you've got chauffeurs, armored SUVs, and the kind of access that lets you test drive Bentleys even before you can legally vote. While Barron doesn't publicly flaunt a car collection, he's been spotted riding in some of the finest vehicles on the road. We're talking Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and the occasional blacked-out Mercedes-Benz. The kind of cars that don't make noise when they move because luxury rides glide, they don't roar. Donald Trump himself is famously loyal to Rolls-Royce, particularly the Phantom, which runs around $500,000, depending on the gold content in your cup holders. So it's a safe bet that Barron's future garage won't be filled with modest hybrids. Expect custom builds, limited-run supercars, and maybe even something electric, if it's expensive enough. Among billionaire heirs, it's common to have a private collection before you turn 25. Think rare Bugattis, matte black Lambos, maybe a McLaren or two. For Barron, that future seems almost guaranteed, especially given his eye for style and his family's taste for all things overbuilt. Even if he's not behind the wheel yet, he's been riding in luxury since preschool, and when he finally does take the driver's seat, you can bet the car will cost more than most people's houses, and it probably won't even have a license plate. Net worth, brand deals, and the inheritance pack. Let's talk numbers, because when your father is worth billions and your name is stitched into the fabric of a global empire, people are naturally curious about your cut. Barron Trump, at just 18, is already sitting on an estimated net worth of $100 million. Not bad for someone who probably still uses a student Metro card, but this isn't just he's rich because his dad is rich territory. Barron's fortune is the result of a well-oiled system of trust funds, family investments, and carefully managed assets that have been building quietly behind the scenes since he was in grade school. Donald Trump, whose net worth hovers around the $3 billion mark depending on who you ask and who's doing the math, has long said he's setting all his children up for financial security. And Barron, as the youngest, might just end up with the cleanest hand in the deck. No business scandals, no tabloid drama, no failed vodka brands, just a steady rise. In recent years, Barron has also started dipping into brand partnerships, with reports of lucrative deals with companies like Skechers and H&M. These aren't your typical influencer side hustles. We're talking million-dollar contracts just for wearing the right thing or appearing in the right setting. It's low effort, high payout. The dream scenario for anyone with the right last name and cheekbones. Then there's his unofficial role in the Trump business machine. According to his father, Barron helps select podcast hosts for interviews and has even been involved in brainstorming around the family's cryptocurrency ventures. So yes, while some teenagers are learning how to do laundry for the first time, Barron's out here analyzing media strategy and testing blockchain concepts over lunch. And with his current studies at NYU Stern School of Business, the path ahead is pretty clear. He's being groomed, not in the pageant dad kind of way, but in the billion-dollar brand heir kind of way. Between his share of the real estate portfolio, his growing presence in media circles, and the eventual handover of Trump Organization stakes, it's not a matter of if Barron becomes a billionaire. It's just a matter of when. For someone who rarely speaks in public, his bank account is saying plenty. All in all, Barron Trump is rather perfecting the billionaire lifestyle instead of just living it, and that too at just 18 years of age. Private jets, penthouse views, generational wealth, and not a selfie in sight. Crazy, right? What do you think is the most appealing aspect of Barron's life? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this exclusive tour of his luxurious lifestyle, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.